Hi, my friend. Welcome back to Books for Healthy Living, the place where I share practical knowledge for complete personal growth through powerful books. Today I want to introduce you to a fascinating book titled This Book May Save Your Life. The author is Karan Rajan, a surgeon who uses a warm and humorous voice to explore the human body. His goal is to help us stay away from what he calls biological traps. So what is a biological trap? The human body is an extraordinary creation. It is the result of millions of years of evolution. It works hard for us and always wants us to live well. But throughout his medical career, the author realized that some parts of the body can become dangerous with just small problems. These issues can threaten our life or slowly weaken our health. For example, our nose is a design disaster. It gets blocked easily, leaks often, and grows hair in strange places. Bones are essential, but when we have back pain, shoulder pain, or knee pain, our bones can become a prison. Our brain is like an outdated computer system filled with buggy code. It runs slowly and prefers short entertainment videos instead of going to sleep. And there are many other biological traps. We need to know them early so that we can prevent health problems. When you hear the title "This Book May Save Your Life," do not imagine dramatic scenes where someone is rescued from late-stage cancer. This book simply gives you fundamental knowledge about the systems inside your body. These things may seem basic, but they are essential because you live with this body every day. When you understand your own body, you can use the natural resources it gives you. That is how you take care of yourself and your loved ones in the best possible way. I hope this book brings you helpful health knowledge and helps you live with more clarity and strength. Now let us begin. To start, let us talk about the beginning of your life. If you think of the human body as the simplest shape possible, what would it be? It would be a tube. Your body is like one long tube that starts at the mouth and ends at the anus. Doctors are similar to plumbers, and your body is the entire hidden pipe system that needs regular care. If you do not maintain it, it will leak, get clogged, or even have waste flowing backward. Inside the body, the digestive system is the central pipeline, controlled by a mysterious intelligent mechanism. And here is a fact that may not sound pleasant. Your life began from your anus. When you were a tiny embryo, the first part that formed was not your heart or your brain. It was a hole. This hole slowly expanded through the embryo and later created the mouth on the other side. In the beginning, you were basically a small creature with your mouth and anus connected. You started life as a lonely little opening floating in the uterus. Over time, this hole developed into your intestines. These intestines twisted and folded to create the complex maze that became your digestive system. Then the whole embryo developed into a complete body. In short, we all began life with a hole. But that hole is what keeps you alive for your entire life. It forms the digestive system, and the digestive system is the foundation of human health. If you want to live well and joyfully, you must honor and protect your digestive system. To do that, you should first understand that the gut is often called the second brain. It has its own ability to think in a way. There is a direct communication channel between the gut and the brain. It is called the gut-brain axis. This means the condition of your gut can influence your thoughts and emotions. Sometimes your happiness is not decided by your brain but by the state of the beneficial bacteria living inside your gut. For example, when you are hungry, you tend to be irritated. That is because your gut directly affects your emotional state. So if you want to live with calm and joy, you must nourish your gut microbiome. You need to know that the favorite meal of your gut bacteria is fiber. Some types of fiber are called prebiotics. They are premium food that helps beneficial bacteria grow strong. They also love natural antioxidants called polyphenol. Polyphenol are found in fruits such as blueberries, apples especially their skins, strawberries, raspberries, grapes especially red and black ones, citrus fruits, pomegranates, and cherries. In vegetables, you find them in broccoli, kale, spinach, eggplant, carrots, sweet potatoes, beans, nuts, and whole grains. They are also found in spices and nutrient-dense foods such as turmeric, cinnamon, pure cacao, dark chocolate, extra virgin olive oil, and a moderate amount of coffee. These foods feed the tiny residents in your gut and help create a healthy microbiome. On the other hand, eating too much red meat and ultra-processed food damages your gut. These foods are so altered that you cannot even tell what they originally were. They contain refined sugar, preservatives, artificial flavors, artificial colors, and reused oils. All of these can disrupt your gut microbiome. Examples include sausages, smoked meats, cold cuts, industrial fish cakes, instant noodles, snack foods, chips, packaged cookies, packaged cakes, soda, energy drinks, fast food such as pizza and fried chicken, and industrial sauces. Too much red meat such as pork and beef can cause low-grade inflammation or make existing inflammation worse. Your gut microbiome is like a small garden inside your belly. If you feed it healthy foods, it will bloom beautifully and give you joy and energy. But if you keep feeding it processed foods and preserved foods, that garden will wilt. It will leave behind harmful weeds that cause inflammation, tiredness, and long-term pain. Next, let us talk about the esophagus. The esophagus and the windpipe are one of the worst design flaws of the human body. They share the same throat area and sit very close together. This is why food sometimes enters the wrong tube. It slips into the windpipe and reaches the lungs. This causes choking. As we get older, the risk of choking increases because the muscles in the throat and voice box weaken and swallowing becomes slower. Elderly people in hospitals are especially vulnerable. When someone feeds them while they are lying down, even tiny grains of rice can slip into the lungs and cause aspiration pneumonia. This is one of the ways the body can harm itself if we do not provide proper first aid. If this happens, the first and simplest method is to use your hand to firmly hit the area between the shoulder blades. This can force the object out. Current first aid guidelines recommend 5 strong back blows. If that does not work, perform the method previously known as the Heimlich maneuver. Wrap your arms around the person's middle. Push forcefully inward and upward. Do this 5 times. If the blockage remains, call emergency services right away. At the lower end of the esophagus is a muscle called the lower esophageal sphincter. If you do not chew your food well, this area becomes irritated easily. When acid reflux happens, stomach acid is the first thing to burn it. This is why you need to eat slowly and chew well to reduce pressure on your stomach. When you eat too fast, do not chew properly or talk and use your phone while eating, you swallow extra air. This increases pressure in your stomach and forces acid upward. A good meal means sitting upright and focusing on your food. Avoid lying down or bending forward right after eating. Limit spicy foods, sour foods, and alcohol. Going to the bathroom is an important act that affects your health. Women are more likely to be constipated than men. The uterus and ovaries take up space in the abdomen, and the intestines must bend more. This makes it harder to pass stool. According to medicine, if you have fewer than 3 bowel movements per week, you are considered constipated. This condition is harmful to your body. To avoid hemorrhoids, do not strain too hard when you go to the bathroom. Excessive pushing increases pressure on the anus. The process should take less than 10 minutes, ideally under 5 minutes. To do this, drink 6 to 8 cups of water daily and eat about 30 grams of fiber. Most modern people only eat 15 to 18 grams per day. One common cause is the habit of eating in the wrong order. Many people eat rice and meat first and eat vegetables last. By that time the stomach is already full, so they eat very few vegetables. Many people also have unbalanced meals where starch and meat take up the largest portion. Meanwhile, vegetables, beans, fruits, and whole grains take up very little. But it is not difficult to fix. For example, you can start your morning with oatmeal, a banana, and a spoon of chia seeds. That is already about 12 grams of fiber. At lunch, have a large bowl of vegetables or a large salad, a bowl of brown rice, and half a cup of tofu or black beans. That is another 12 grams. For a snack or dinner, you can eat a sweet potato, an apple, and a handful of almonds or sunflower seeds. That adds up to 10 grams. With these simple choices, you meet the recommended amount. Besides your meals, You also need to pay attention to your posture when you go to the bathroom. What posture works best? Doctors have shown that squatting is the natural and most effective position for bowel movements. But today most homes use sitting toilets. Sitting creates a 90-degree angle between your torso and legs. This bends the rectum. It makes stool harder to pass and increases the chance of constipation. Do not rely on laxatives even if they are pills or suppositories. They can harm your gut microbiome. A safer and simpler method is to place a small stool under your feet when you sit on the toilet. It lifts your knees and helps your body return to a posture similar to squatting. If you do not have a stool, leaning your upper body slightly forward also helps. One more important thing is this. Always close the toilet lid before you flush. Why does this matter? Because in many homes the toilet and the sink are in the same room. When you flush, the strong water pressure sends tiny droplets of waste into the air. These droplets carry bacteria. If they get into your mouth, eyes, or nose, they can cause infections. Please always close the toilet lid before you flush. This is a very small habit, but it is extremely important for your health. After you use the bathroom, you should take a quick look at your stool. It may sound unpleasant, but a small observation can save your life. If your stool looks gray or white like clay, it means you may lack bile, and you need to see a doctor right away. Dark red or black stool can indicate bleeding in your digestive tract, often with a metallic smell similar to iron. Besides color, the stickiness and the shape of your stool also reflect the condition of your body. For example, if your stool floats and has an oily film, your pancreas may not be producing enough enzymes to digest fat. To keep your gut healthy, you also need to move your body regularly. Do not hold your bowel movements or hold your urine. It is best to build a routine and go to the bathroom at the same time every day. Now let us activate your sixth sense and talk about the best way to keep your bones and joints strong. When we talk about the musculoskeletal system, there are three areas we need to pay close attention to. They are degeneration, the knees, and the lower spine. These are not only the parts that get injured easily, but they are also the critical weak points of the body when we reach middle age. First, let us talk about joint degeneration. After the age of 40, your bones begin to shrink, your bone density decreases, and your body slowly becomes shorter. This is a natural process, but you can slow it down if you take care of your bones the right way. To prevent this, you need enough calcium. Besides familiar dairy products like cheese, you can increase your calcium by eating dark leafy greens such as kale. These vegetables can be an abundant source of calcium for your body. However, eating calcium-rich foods alone is not enough. Your body also needs vitamin D because vitamin D allows your intestines to absorb calcium effectively. So where do you get vitamin D? In addition to food, you need regular exposure to sunlight. Only when your skin receives sunlight can your body naturally produce and convert vitamin D. This is both a lifestyle and nutrition issue. It is complex, but it is extremely important. The second issue is your knees. With every step you take, your knees support a force that is 6 times your body weight. Throughout your life, your knees endure tremendous pressure from millions of steps. That is why you must protect them. If you do not, you may need artificial knee replacement surgery later in life. The author points out a common mistake. Many people avoid exercise because they fear it will harm their knees. But if you observe older adults, you will see that the ones who move more tend to have stronger knees. Exercises that put weight on the body, like running, require the knees to carry pressure. But this compression is actually good for the cartilage. Each step is like squeezing a sponge. Waste is pushed out, and fresh fluid filled with nutrients is pulled in. Of course, you need to exercise in moderation and avoid overtraining. The third issue is the lower spine. When you walk, your body always rotates slightly. If it did not rotate, the force from the ground could make you fall backward. This rotation helps balance the reaction force from the ground so you can move forward. But this same rotation causes many lower back problems, especially herniated discs. Between each vertebra is a collagen cushion filled with gel-like fluid. It is also called the nucleus pulposus. During your lifetime, you twist your body millions of times. This slowly wears down the tough outer layer of the disc. When the gel inside leaks out, you develop a herniated disc. It becomes worse when the leaked material presses on a nerve, causing pain, numbness, or tingling that spreads to your lower back, hips, and legs. The way to prevent these problems is to strengthen your core muscles. You can do this through exercises like the plank, basic Pilates movements, or yoga poses such as Navasana, which is the boat pose, and Utkatasana, which is the chair pose. There is one more thing you must pay attention to. Looking down at your phone too much causes problems in your cervical spine. Today this has become so common that many people ignore it as if it were normal. But when you allow yourself to live with bad alignment, the long-term damage can be serious. Your neck joints slowly degenerate, leading to pain, stiffness, numbness, and even deformity of the spine if it continues for many years. There is also an interesting point. You can protect your bones and joints by using your sixth sense. It may sound like a joke, but the author is very serious. Your sixth sense is your sense of body awareness. It is a hidden ability that you do not realize you have. The better your body can adjust and balance itself without conscious effort, the lower your risk of joint injuries. In other words, your body naturally knows how your joints should move correctly. Simple balance exercises can strengthen this awareness. For example, close your eyes, stand on one foot, and bend your knee slightly. This movement forces the muscles around your knee to work harder to maintain balance. The more you take part in physical activity, the more naturally your body and mind know what to do. This is how your sixth sense becomes sharper and your body becomes smarter. This subtle harmony between awareness, sensation, and movement is the deeper secret that keeps your joints flexible, resilient, and strong over time. Your command center also needs love. Your brain needs to be refreshed every day. Now let us talk about the brain. The human brain weighs about 1.3 kilograms and makes up only 2% of your body weight. Yet it consumes 20% of your stored energy. Your brain uses so much energy that when you think a lot, you feel tired and hungry more quickly. The brain is the command system of your body, but it is not the highest authority. Your genetic code is the true decision maker. The brain is more like a chief executive officer who manages operations. This leader contains about 86 billion neurons. That number alone is incredible, and each neuron has countless connections. There is an old saying that humans use less than 10% of their brain, but that is completely false. In reality, everything you do uses your entire brain. All regions of the brain work together closely to complete every task. When the brain is damaged, the whole body becomes disordered because every organ receives instructions from the brain. To protect your brain, the first thing you need to pay attention to is avoiding strong impacts to your head. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy is the result of repeated head injuries. If you have had a concussion 3 or more times, your risk of developing chronic traumatic encephalopathy becomes very high, so you must make sure your brain does not experience frequent impacts. Another way to protect your brain is to sleep enough and sleep well. When a person does not sleep, the mind becomes overwhelmed because during sleep the brain performs its own cleaning process. Every day, as the brain works, it creates a large amount of waste. These are pieces of cellular debris and metabolic byproducts. While you sleep, the cerebrospinal fluid flows more strongly and washes away this waste, which allows your brain to rest and recover. If you often have insomnia or do not sleep deeply, this cleaning process is interrupted. Waste begins to build up, which reduces memory, harms your ability to focus, and increases your risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of progressive memory decline. This condition gradually takes away a person's ability to perform daily activities and eventually affects their life in a severe way. It tends to appear in people over 65 years old. That is why starting now you need to care for your brain and protect your sleep. The simplest way is to go to bed at a regular time. Another important point is learning how to use your brain properly. You should not do many things at once. For example, when you eat while watching your phone and scrolling through the internet, your brain becomes very tired and your stomach is affected as well. The best way to maintain your brain is to exercise it by learning new things often. Do not retire your mind too early. When you stop doing anything meaningful and no longer have goals, that is when you age the fastest. Your brain will decline quickly. Because of this, you should do something every day that stimulates your mind, such as learning a new language, solving math problems, learning a new skill, reading books, talking with people, or practicing meditation and deep focus. All of these help your brain stay healthy and active. When you feel stressed, there is a natural way to reduce pressure called the mammalian dive reflex. All you need is a bowl of cool water. Hold your breath and dip your face into it. Your stress will ease almost immediately because this reflex activates on its own. Your heart rate slows, your blood vessels tighten, and your blood is directed toward your heart, brain, and lungs, helping you calm down quickly. This is a natural biological mechanism that all mammals possess. Next, let us talk about the heart. People often wonder whether the human body has any extra organ that seems unnecessary but could quietly put our life at risk. Many people think of the appendix, but science has already shown that the appendix is not useless and still has certain functions. In our body, there is a mysterious structure called the left atrial appendage. It is an extension of the heart that most people do not even know exists. It feels like an extra part with no clear purpose, yet it can become a hidden source of danger that leads to one of the leading causes of death, which is stroke. When blood flows through the left atrial appendage, sometimes a blood clot can form. When this happens, the clot becomes a solid mass. If it travels through the bloodstream to the brain, it can cause a stroke. About 1/4 of all strokes are related to the left atrial appendage. To prevent stroke and protect your heart, the best approach is to change your lifestyle and eating habits so that your blood flows smoothly and blood clots do not form easily. First, you need to limit saturated fats, especially trans fats. These types of fats increase blood lipids, which makes it easier for vessels to become blocked and for clots to form. They are found in red meat, fatty cuts of meat, chicken skin, animal organs, deep-fried foods, industrial snacks, fast food, and processed foods. Instead of these, you should eat foods that contain healthy fats and increase your intake of omega-3 fatty acids. Examples include ocean fish such as salmon, mackerel, and tuna. You can also eat nuts such as almonds, walnuts, and cashews, as well as extra virgin olive oil, flaxseed oil, and avocados. At the same time, you need to control your blood sugar. Avoid foods that cause rapid spikes in blood glucose and never drink sugary beverages. Refined carbohydrates such as white rice, white bread, noodles, and steamed buns cause sudden blood sugar increases. One helpful tip to control blood sugar while also protecting your digestive system is to change the order in which you eat. Eat vegetables first, then protein and healthy fats, and save carbohydrates for the end. Instead of refined carbohydrates, choose whole grains, brown rice, and oats. Instead of snacks or fast food, choose whole fruits. Another important step is to lose excess weight and maintain a lighter body. This is essential for a healthy heart. Finally, you need to keep your emotions steady. Another important step is to lose excess weight and maintain a lighter body. This is essential for the health of your heart. Finally, make sure your emotions remain calm. This is one of the most important ways to protect your heart. When your emotions swing strongly, your body releases a large amount of stress hormones that weaken your heart muscle. It is not only sadness or anger that harms your heart. Even intense joy can be dangerous if you do not stay calm and control your breathing. In some cases, it can even cause sudden heart failure. Next, let us talk about your lungs. Your lungs are more fragile than you think. The lungs are the only organ that refuse to work while you are still in the womb. In other words, inside the uterus, the lungs do not function. Only when a baby leaves the mother's body and cries for the first time do the lungs begin to work. From that moment, the lungs become the first doorway that connects a person to the outside world. The lungs are extremely sensitive and they dislike intruders. Any dust, bacteria, cigarette smoke, or chemical that enters the lungs can trigger a strong defensive reaction. Each day we breathe about 20,000 times. This means the lungs must filter thousands of liters of air that contain harmful particles we do not notice. Because they work without rest, the lungs are easily damaged and they are far more delicate than most people realize. When the lung tissue becomes inflamed, scar tissue forms. The sad truth is that the lungs cannot fully regenerate like some other organs. This means that even one episode of pneumonia can leave permanent marks that slowly reduce lung capacity and your ability to exchange oxygen over time. That is why you need to value every breath and take care of your lungs with love and attention. Your lungs do not have pain receptors like your heart or your stomach. When they are in trouble, you often do not notice it. Feeling short of breath, struggling to inhale, having a long-lasting cough, or feeling tired even with light activity are early signals your body is sending to you. You should protect your lungs every day. Keep your living environment clean. Stay away from cigarette smoke, fine dust, and harmful chemicals in the air. Build the habit of breathing deeply and slowly. Maintain regular physical activity such as walking, yoga, qigong, and swimming. These activities increase lung capacity, improve endurance, and naturally clean the airways. Now let me talk about how to care for your ears, eyes, and nose. When it comes to the eyes, imagine someone saying that all humans are blind. Would you believe that? In truth, it is not wrong. Human eyes can only see 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. This means more than 99.9% of the world around us is completely invisible to us. The eyes also have design flaws. The images we see are actually reversed, but the brain automatically adjusts them so we perceive the correct orientation. To protect your eyes, the author suggests the 20-20 rule. After every 20 minutes of looking at a screen, look at something 20 feet away, which is 6.1 meters, for 20 seconds. Also, make sure to play sports, move your body, and shift your focus between near and far distances. This allows your eyes to adjust naturally. It is even better if you spend time outdoors and look at the world around you. This provides a complete experience that protects your eye muscles and your eyeballs in the best way. There is something called optic flow. Optic flow is the feeling that objects move backward when you move forward. For example, when you ride a bicycle, you see the trees on both sides move past you. This state activates the parasympathetic nervous system, relaxes your eyes, and expands your field of vision. You can create optic flow indoors, but the effect is not as strong. That is why you should move more under natural sunlight. Another very important thing is to avoid rubbing your eyes. Rubbing is a very harmful habit that can distort the shape of your eyeball and cause many inflammatory problems that directly damage the cornea. Your ears can hear sound because of the 3 smallest bones in your body and about 16,000 hair cells in your inner ear. These hair cells need to be damaged by half before you notice a serious loss in hearing. The warning you must remember is that by the time you notice that much damage, nothing can truly restore it. To protect your ears, avoid long exposure to loud sounds. You should especially avoid using earbud-style headphones that sit deep inside the ear canal. If you must use headphones, it is better to use over-ear headphones because they are much safer for your ears. Finally, let us talk about your nose. The author says the brain does not like the design of our nose. It constantly tries to ignore the presence of the nose. In fact, you always see the bridge of your nose, but your brain has learned to block it so it does not interrupt your vision. Even so, the nose is extremely important for your health. The best way to take care of it is to learn to breathe through your nose. Do not breathe through your mouth all day. Mouth breathing makes your face longer and narrower. It also creates respiratory problems and makes you more vulnerable to infections. For young children, parents need to correct their breathing habits so they naturally develop the habit of breathing through the nose. When a nosebleed happens, many people tilt their head back. That is not only wrong but also dangerous. If one is lucky, the blood will flow into the stomach and cause diarrhea. If one is unlucky, the blood can slip into the airway and threaten life. Tilting the head back does not stop the bleeding. The best way is to gently pinch the soft part under the bridge of the nose, sit upright, and lean slightly forward so the blood does not run down the throat. If the bleeding does not stop, you can place a small piece of paper between the upper gum and the upper lip or apply a cold compress to help the blood vessels tighten and stop the bleeding. Another habit that seems harmless but is extremely dangerous is plucking nose hairs. When you pull them out at the root, you leave behind tiny open spots that are easy to infect. The nose sits within the dangerous triangle of the face, where bacteria can travel to the brain. Because of that, you should not pluck nose hairs or squeeze pimples around the nose to avoid life-threatening risks. Do you see it? These small pieces of knowledge about the body are things we should learn as early as possible. They are the keys to living fully and appreciating every moment. Your body has always loved you quietly and unconditionally. It is a small, harmonious universe and a miraculous machine that allows you to walk, stand, feel, and love. Even in the final moments when your breath slowly fades, your body is still trying to give you one last gift. That gift is the chance to understand the lessons from your entire life. Scientists have discovered that brain activity continues for a short time even after the heart stops beating. What is even more amazing is that these brain waves are similar to the waves we see when we dream and recall memories. Because of this, during those final moments when the screen that displays brain activity no longer shows anything new, a person may truly see their entire life pass before their eyes. The human body is incredible. We do not need to chase a glorious life based on any social standard. At the end of that road, we might realize that simply having a body that allows us to experience this world through our senses is already a miracle beyond compare. You do not need to force yourself to achieve huge accomplishments to believe your life is worthwhile. Your existence, along with this complex and refined body, is already a legend. That is why understanding your body, respecting it, and loving it matters so much. Take care of both your physical and emotional health. Learn to love your own life. That is the true meaning of becoming mature. Thank you for listening. If you feel this video is helpful, please share it with anyone who needs it. Do not forget to give me a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can see the newest videos each week. Once again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.